It's showtime.
Down to business. I got my wild cherry Diet Pepsi, and I got my blackjack gum here, and I got that feeling. Yeah, that familiar feeling that something rank is going down out there.
Worrying about ghosts and goblins.
Gutter. Gutter. Gutter.
And if you can't believe it, it's a Friday once again.
Good. You're not coming home. Where can I go then? You can go to the gutter where you belong, you filthy pig.
The stuff that dreams are made of. Huh?
A man who walks among us, but is never truly with us. An exile of his own species, wearing humanity like an old overcoat he can't quite bring himself to throw away completely. Wrapped in the armor of cynicism, he knows our fears, our hungers, the small cruelties all cling to him like the smoke from his endless cigarettes. And yet, he's separate, untethered, and unreachable, because to touch him, to exist in his actual world, is to brush against that which is ancient and profane, yet hums beneath the skin of the reality around us. The city he sees is alive in entirely wrong ways. The shadows murmur, the lights flicker in fear, and the wind whispers recognition of his presence. He isn't a savior, and he isn't a villain. He's a man who's seen the machinery of heaven and hell up close and personal, and made a choice as to where he would stand. In the end, nothing more than the proof of a terrible, unspeakable truth is what he knows. To understand humanity completely is to no longer belong to it. Welcome to the gutter Everyone ends up here eventually. It is only a matter of time. I, of course, am Aldous, your host, and joining me, as always, is JP. JP, how do we find ourselves this evening?
Pretty good. We're into the pumpkin spice season, and I've actually wanted to ask you: do you have any strong feelings about pumpkin spice? Are you against it?
The only thing I'm against about pumpkin spice, other than its general prevalence, is the amount of money that Mrs. Aldous spends on it during this season.
Fair enough. Let's move on.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about coffee tastes, a friend of mine recently started brewing their own coffee at work, like French pressing it, and it's the most bougie way of making coffee possible. But I'll give it this: like the acidity level is a lot lower when you French press it, and it's pretty good. As far as my own coffee tastes, like I'm a cowboy coffee guy, man. I've got a percolator sitting on the stove, and if I want a pot, that's how I make it, grounds and all.
As in from like No Country for Old Men. Is that coffee fresh? I made it last week.
No, not quite. I mean, I'll make a fresh pot every day, but like I'll make a pot Saturday morning, Sunday morning, and it just stays in the stove, and I'll warm that up throughout the day if I want a second or a third cup.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah. Let's turn to the chat and see who we've got joining us here. We've, of course, got Citizen Ronan, who always pens something a little enjoyable to read. So let me give this a shot. I woke up in a puddle of my own shame, out in the back of a bar I don't remember entering or leaving. Whoever slipped me that Mickey also put the knot in my head. Just another night in the gutter. Thank you, Citizen Ronan.
It was Ronnie.
There you go. Let's gamble, or let's scramble, as Pixel Trader says. Good to see you, buddy. Everybody's saying hi to Pixel. We got Henry Bemis, one of my favorite series and characters. Started reading with the Jamie Delano run, Jamie Delano's original run. We will be going over of course, the first issue, just the first issue of Hellblazer. It is an oversized issue. It's 40 pages. And in order to give, there's a lot I want to talk about on this one. And I'm sure JP is going to have some input as well, because I know this is a banger of a story, in my opinion, and a great, great starting point for this character to have their own run. So we just thought single issue for tonight. And there's some stuff related to the horror aspects of this book that I really wanted to get into as well, because I think it excels on all levels. But greetings, Mr. Bemis. Always good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Snugs is also here. What's up, chat? What's up, Snuggy? Good to see you, man. Scrolling down, he says, Hellblazer. Exactly. And the Escape from New York remix. Yes, that was indeed. I've been waiting to use that one for a while, and it felt appropriate tonight. Henry Bemis says, I have pumpkin spice ambivalence. Well, there you go. And Snuggy says, starting a company making pumpkin spice marmalades. It's Pumpkin Spice Armageddon. Indeed.
That's the name of my band.
Snug says, I make French press every day. Well, there you go. I did not take Snugs for a bougie coffee guy, but apparently he is.
Well, nothing really tops the Italians, who enjoy nothing more than a cup of espresso with a twist of lemon.
That is so wrong on so many levels. That doesn't work, man. It's acid on top of acid. You can't do that. But anyway, Henry Bemis says, though I did demolish some pumpkin spice donuts while high, so that was nice. Ooh, while we here on the gutter do not advise illicit drug use, we don't not advise it either. So there you go. Kayla is still at work, although she is joining us. So thank you, Kayla. Hopefully it's not the hell is not too bad. But yeah, as I said, and as is obvious from our banner and everything, we will be talking about the first issue of Hellblazer. But first, tonight, there are a couple of things I wanted to talk about. The first of which is Noirlum 2. Noirlum 2 signature editions are available over on Fund My Comic, although from what I understand from talking to JP in the back room before the show, Fund My Comic is apparently having some problems tonight. Is that just related to one campaign, or is that across the board?
Oh, that would be a question for somebody who pays attention to their own campaign. I have no idea.
Okay, gotcha. But in any case, if you want a signed copy of Noirlum Listen, you can head over to this page on Fund My Comic and get a great copy of it. I still actually have to order mine. I did order my my copy from BarnesandNoble.com. Actually, I went in the store and ordered it, so I thought maybe that would help you a little bit more if I walked in the store. Still haven't gotten it, but that's on the store from based off my conversations with him. So go to the Barnes & Noble website, and you can get your copy of New Harlem 2 if you do not want a signature edition. Also, if you are outside of the continental 48 states, by all means, go to this page as well. And I believe, JP, you've provided links for people that are outside the United States to find their copy in a reasonable and like lower shipping methodology. Is that correct?
Yeah, if you don't see your country on there, shoot me a message on Twitter and I'll find it somewhere.
There you go. But in my opinion, everybody does need to check this out. I really did enjoy the first one. And actually, at the end of November of this year, we will be talking about this book with its author. Are you looking forward to that, JP?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to absorbing criticism like a responsible and mature human being. I'm also in the early stages of sketching out book 3, which will be titled "A Haunting in Flatbush."
Ooh, I like it. But I would be remiss, JP, as much as I love promoting your stuff, there is one individual other than Jason Sandberg who
Rich
I do
Ayala?
enjoy. Well, actually, so man, you're right. It is Rich Ayala. Other than Rich Ayala and Jason Sandberg, there is one other individual that I need to promote at all times, every chance I can get, and that is Mr. Skunk Artworks. He has a Kickstarter. Let me pull that up real quick. I'm not too fast here on the sharing the screens, but over on Kickstarter, we've got Behind the Trees. It's a hand-painted horror dark fantasy book by none other than Skunk Artworks. Everybody praises his art. I will join that chorus, as I often have. His art is absolutely amazing. But I happen to know from a little bit talking with Odin Dasco and talking with Skunk himself that this story is going to be something special. And if you had the privilege of reading his book, The Splash, which was a children's book, you'll know that he has a little bit of a talent for adapting a story. And I'm really looking forward to this one. So I would highly recommend you go over to Kickstarter and sign up for that. Great friend of mine, fantastic artist, and definitely needs more support. So follow him on Twitter. If you need some commissions, check him out. He's always looking for more work, and but right now he's working on that. So I know you like skunk stuff too, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can. I mean, if anybody was so inclined, I still technically have his Eudaimonia piece on the Eudaimonia 3 campaign that anybody can pick up.
Ooh, that's a good call. I like that. Let's see what we got. We got some people talking here in the chat. Man, it just keeps on jumping on me. But I am in the Hellblazer tonight. Says
I
Kayla.
am the Hellblazer.
I am the Hellblazer tonight. And salesperson of the month, Kayla, who apparently sold 15K of books. Hell yes. That's awesome for your shop, man. Always good to hear shops doing well. Like big books today. Awesome. Recreational cannabis is legal in the socialist paradise of Oregon, so technically not illicit. It's still an illicit substance. We can play legalistic state games, but come on, man. Come on. It's still a controlled substance. As I suck on a nicotine pouch and sip a little bit of whiskey. All right. But anyway, let's move on here. Snug says he is in Etria. Do they
What
have
the hell's that?
I don't know, probably some small Pacific Islander country of like 47 people.
Sovereign citizen?
Nah, I don't think so. All I'm going to hear is "Let's Gamble" from the author. Let's Gamble: The Story of Ronnie. I do have it as a rumor that there is more Ronnie coming. I haven't confirmed that yet, but my army of autists is working on it. Snugs asks, is Behind the Trees on the Autumn of Aldous yet? No, it is not. My week was hell, so I did not get a chance to update the Autumn of Aldous. However, the Autumn of Aldous is active if you want to go check that out. But I gotta, and I apologize. No love. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, guys. Henry Bemis says, I switched to Zen. I hate it so much. I miss my coffin nails. I currently have 3. I fell off the wagon again, folks. I've got 3 Lucky Strikes left in my pack. But in my defense, I ran out of my Alp pouches, and I refused to go and buy Zen again. So I'm like waiting for my order of Zemo to get here. It hasn't gotten here yet because I switched back to Zemo from Alp. But yeah, either way, I feel your pain, brother. I feel your pain. Either way, we got to jump right into the book, though. We're burning time here. But yes, tonight we will be talking about none other than Hellblazer #1 from 1988. Now, this is not probably talked about enough in related to this book. This is a fantastic run. It's a 300 issue run. It started in 1988. It ran until 2013, over 25 years, 300 issues, 2 annuals. And the original author, Jamie Delano, who is this gentleman, you'll be familiar with Mr. Delano because we've spoken about him here before on the Gutter. He was born in 1954. He came across the pond into the Western art, or I guess the American comic book scene in the post-war British explosion. He wrote all but 3 of the first 40 issues of Hellblazer from 1988 until 1991. And like I said, we've mentioned him here before. When I covered World Without End, which is a series that I still recommend to everybody. It's very, very affordable. It's a fantastic read. The art is beautiful, and it's kind of a little out there from what you'd normally expect. And it's fun because of that. It's a little bit different. It's a good time. The art on the book that we're about to talk about was done by John Ridgway. John Ridgway was born in 1940, and early in his career, he was known for more of his color work. But as he tended to get more pencil and ink work, and now he's easily recognizable for his delicate, almost sketch-like line work. And you're really going to see that tonight in some of his pages. But he's probably best known to most people, if you're a diehard comic guy, from both Europe and America, for his work in Commando. But he worked on a variety of titles here in the States. Often he was given a book that was just getting launched because he was competent, he was deliverable, he could get it done on time. And getting those first few issues out on time and done in a very clean manner is very, very important when launching a series. Really don't have to explain that to anybody in our audience, as we've covered that multiple times. But so a very, very competent duo on it. The character in question is John Constantine. This is a character that originally was first appeared in Swamp Thing number 37, created by Alan Moore, John Totleben, and Steve Bissette. If you are familiar at all with John Totlben's or Steve Bissette's art, which we really haven't covered nearly enough here on the Gutter, you're definitely going to see their influence in Ridgway's panel construction, in some of his monster designs, and some of his imagery tonight. But overall, this is a DC character that was born to kind of serve as more of a bridge character in some Alan Moore stuff in Swamp Thing, that it kind of started evolving into a life of his own, and DC wanted to catapult off of that and launched his own series. And obviously it was very successful because it ran for a quarter of a century with over 300 issues and 2 annuals, as I mentioned. Now, before we get into the issue, I do want to talk a little bit about collectability. Hellblazer #1 is a key. This is a book that is not hard to find, but it's going to cost you a pretty penny if you do find it. Valuations are going to range between $40 to $150, depending on condition, whether it's CGC graded. What is it, a retail copy? Is it a newsstand copy? All those things are going to factor in, but you're looking at $40 to $150. The issues for this are also, as I said, very collectible. Once you get past about the first 50, a lot of those issues are dollar bin fare. There's the occasional ones that'll pop up in a little bit of valuation. But for a 300 issue run, overall, this is a very, very affordable run to collect. If you're looking to collect a run of something that's actually worth reading, this is not a bad one to pick. Uncanny X-Men is affordable up until you get about sub 100. And then it gets a little ridiculous, with a few exceptions. Obviously, first appearance of Gambit's going to run you a little over 100. A couple other issues here and there. But this one's actually pretty affordable. For a 300 issue run, I would say for about $500 to $600 over the course of time, you could easily collect it. However, if that's not your bag, if you don't want to have 300 issues of a run, if chasing a run or going out in the wild and hunting isn't your thing, there is also the trades. Now, I do recommend this trade. If you're not the kind of guy that wants to go out and complete a run, this is a great series to pick up trades for, because they are incredibly affordable. And when I say they're incredibly affordable, I have a link in the description for it on Amazon, and you can get 300 pages, which covers the first 9 issues of Hellblazer, as well as 2 issues of Swamp Thing 67 and 68, which is over 300 pages for $12. Hell of a deal. Don't buy it on Amazon, though. Even though I've got the link in the description, you can go to eBay and find it for like 8 to 10. It's been out for a long time. I think the front matter and the back matter in the trade is definitely worth it. So unless you're like, I have to have the floppies and I'm a completist, I got to have the whole thing, go out and grab the trades. But before we dive into the actual front and back matter that I'm talking about, JP, from a 10,000 foot view, entering this, I don't believe you've ever read Hellblazer before. What was your take on this?
Well, yeah, no, I had absolutely no familiarity with Constantine. I was a little bit familiar with sometimes Steen, but from now on, why don't, instead of the 10,000 foot view, since I'm a big story guy, I tend to, my 10,000 foot view is usually pertaining to the story. I enjoyed it immensely. I thought the writing was a very good. I mean, obviously, I was getting a lot of noir narration from it, but it was a really nice hybrid of noir and beatnik poetry, which is something that I enjoy that maybe you don't.
No, I mean I'm a Kerouac fan in so much as his prose, less his poetry. But no, this has a very British feel to it, and I'm going to go on a little personal narrative, I guess, for a moment. But one of the things that I experienced in all of my time in Europe, from both working there, living there, was they tend to be a little behind the times. And when I say behind the times, I mean they were like it was like a heartbeat away from like the things that were popular 5 years ago were like just kind of getting off over there at the time, it seemed. And this is in the late 90s, early 2000s. So I can only imagine in the late 80s, some things were still kind of lagging. So I get the impression that the beatnik, the 50s, late 50s, early 60s jive was still kind of big over there, just based off of Delano's vibe. It also comes across a little bit in some of Moore's writing that you get a little bit more of that beatnik style stuff. And the kind of not, I don't know how you would describe it, but the Kerouac on the road, kind of that free spirit that's not hippy dippy shit. It's not the leftoid.
No,
It evolved into that.
I would typically I mean, to clarify, when I say a kind of like a beatnik, it's more of like a rhythm, like a
Yes,
a rhythm of speaking. It's very like
lyrical
jazz. Jazzy.
Yes, I think that's a good way to put it. And one of the things, this book snaps. And when I say it snaps, and we're going to talk a little bit about the dialogue as we go through it, but it snaps. The dialogue is fast and it works. And it's I know Snuggy's waiting for his, so it's iambic pentameter. No, it's or free verse. Like, no, man, this thing reads really well. And I think that's a huge credit to Delano, obviously, as the writer. But it's also a credit to all of the influences that went into Delano. This series really, really works well for the issues that Delano's on, and we'll maybe at another time get into some of the other stuff. But Pixel Trader's not sure what the scale of the issue is on Fund My Comic. He just saw that Shadow Punk, obviously launched tonight over on Bancroft, had a problem during launch. I'm trying to look into it with a limited access I have. Well, there you go. And Student of God has joined us. Always a pleasure to see you, sir. And scrolling through, I'm running behind, so I'm already I'm trying to rush through. I apologize if I missed your comment. Henry Bemis says, John Constantine, purveyor of silk cut tobacco. God damn it, I want a cigarette. I feel you, brother. Reading this is one of the things that made me fall off the wagon, because it was just like, God damn, I need a lucky. Student of God says, wow. And Kayla sold a Hellblazer today, graded one. We don't like slab books here. Hopefully the purchaser of that went home and cracked that slab open. And Henry Bemis says, I have a couple copies of number 1. You used to be able to pick up a near mint copy for less than $10. Yes, absolutely true. Not even that long ago, about 10 years ago. And they have all ballooned in price. It was funny. It was one of those rare books that even when the movie came out, really didn't start moving. It was strange. Usually you can speculate based off of that. Awesome One has joined us. He says, let's act gamble. There you go. And Also sold a 101 and cried a little bit because I wanted it. Oh, that's an uncanny 101. That's brutal. That's a hard one to pass up. One of the best Phoenix covers ever. Absolutely. And FYI, I was able to back Flip City just now, so it might be isolated. I captured the error codes. I'm running. Oh, okay, so pixels on it. He's going to figure it out.
Why don't you back New Orleans too, and let us know if it goes through.
There you go. And Jason Sandberg has joined us. He said, I just got off the Friday nights. Did y'all talk about Swamp Thing 88? I did not talk about Swamp Thing 88. Tonight is talking about Hellblazer #1. But let's get into that, JP. Again, I already showed you the cover for the actual issue. I showed you a cover for the trade that includes the actual issue. This is the front matter on the trade, and I just want to talk about this for a minute because I am a front matter and back matter fan.
Looks like a Nine Inch Nails album cover.
I love everything about the design on this. This is what I want to see. It's cigarette burns and dirty film. It fits the decor perfectly. And this is the back mat, or this is the table of contents page. Again, absolutely fantastic. I love the design. This is in the trade again. And then let's jump right into the book. We start off with page 1, and we are not introduced to the main character, JP. We are introduced to a rather large postal service employee of the Royal Mail Postal Service.
Yeah, I cracked into this, and I read the first 3 pages, and I thought that I had no idea what this was, so I thought that you had just sent me like an anthology. So I just read the first 3 pages, and I was like, oh, that's a neat little story.
And it is a concise little story, but it's an introduction.
Yeah.
And
also,
we start off
5
here.
Absolutely looks like some art from a King Crimson cover.
It does look like some King Crimson covers. But so before we get into story context, I want to talk a little bit about the art here. We start off with a very, very structured, very rigid 6-panel grid structure in panels 1 and 2. And then things start to get weird. And we start breaking down from that structure a little bit. The edge work gets a little, the panels almost start bleeding over into each other. The narration bleeds over into each other. It's a cacophony of things happening, of imagery and text. And we move from this structured beginning into this chaos that's slowly getting more and more and more busy into this gorgeous 2-page spread that does something interesting, JP. We're not panels 1, 2, 3, and then 4. We're panels 1, 2, 3. We do a 9-panel grid, but it bridges the page break. And then we're all building up to that 10th panel. That's the introduction of, boom, the hunger. As this person who's been a glutton, they're just feeding themselves, wastes away to nothing. And we go, what the hell? How is that an introduction to a John Constantine story? Because we know who John Constantine is. We've introduced to him in Swamp Thing from issue 37. He's been around for a while. How is this introducing us to John Constantine? But then we turn the page.
What does that last 2 pages look like with a fold?
The fold is right about where he's eating the steak.
Got it.
But then we go from that, and now we're back to that standard rigid, and now we're back to John Constantine. This is one of the things the book does so beautifully, is the real world, the reality that we exist within, is standard 6-panel grid. And when we start breaking down and you start seeing the worlds, because Constantine exists in 2 different worlds at the same time. He sees things that we don't see. He sees the demon world. He sees heaven and hell and a constant struggle over the fate of humanity. But when you've got that displayed as far as which world we're in, depending on how the grid structure works. And I think that's absolutely brilliant. Doing the 2x3s is just a great way. Number one, it's awesome to see this being done in 88. Yes, it's probably in response to Watchmen for those people out there that are chomping at the bit to somehow reference Watchmen. But at the same time, he's not using a 9x9 or a 3x3 for a 9-panel grid. He's using a 2x6. This is really well done. It's more of a throwback to older comics, and it's being executed really, really well. Did you find it jarring at all going from that first introductory 3 pages into this at all? Or did you appreciate it?
Not really, because I'm starting to kind of learn, mostly via the show, about the musicality of format. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah,
the
it's like when you
first three
start a
pages
jazz
are
beat with a real
yeah,
heavy beat, and then you flow into more of a rhythm.
yeah,
And then we're
and
gonna
like
carry
these
that
opening
rhythm.
pages are like the drummer and the bass setting up.
Yep. And now we've settled into that rhythm. We've established the rhythm. We're gonna carry that rhythm over, but now we're gonna throw a little bit of chaos in. It's just a
Mm,
couple inset panels, and we're doing some trumpet, and we're getting some peaks out, and we're gonna accentuate a few things. The panel I really appreciate in this breakdown because there's a lot going on in these 2 pages. But in the lower left-hand corner, the vial where you see his eye through the
mm,
vial, beautiful artwork. Ridgway's killing it there.
yeah,
And it's
drawing the eye.
the setup across the page, really well done. The only thing is it's moving the wrong way because I'm carrying the eye off into the bottom corner. I would have liked to see that maybe inverted a little bit. But on the right side of the page, oh my God, is this done well? Again,
Mm,
static panel build up to chaos. And where do those gutter lines go? We're already starting to break the gutter lines from 1 to 2, and we've got the bugs crawling. You can just faintly see the bugs. And then he opens the door, and you get the impression like where are all these bugs coming from? Well, it's coming from this. This guy's in the tub covered in bugs. Just a great page turn reveal.
yeah,
Absolutely
and
fantastic.
and the line feels like there's bugs all over me.
Yep. I mean, just accentuating it, hitting the point. Really, really well done.
This would
Lit-
make that would make a really great. I know that what is it? Homage covers are just like I know people feel strongly about them, but I would really like to see this as an homage cover by Rich Ayala.
that would be a great one for like a variant on Roach Balls 2, because I feel like there's
Mm.
bugs all over me. I dig it for sure. And this is an idea of what Ridgway's doing too. It's very structured and formatted, but then when we start getting into the shadier aspects of what Constantine's a part of, we break and we fracture, and we have great page layouts like this, where we're playing with panel lines, we're playing with imagery, we're playing with context, and we're playing with dialogue. And it's just really, really well done. It in how it flows and how it works. It's not overly used. It's used very sparingly, but when it is used, it's very, very powerful, both in the context of story and art. This is one of those great comics where everything works in conjunction. Everybody's jiving. Delano's script is being executed by Ridgway at a very, very high level, and you understand the content and the flow, and the imagery is telling you just as much as the story. You could just flip through this book and get an idea of what's going on, or you could sit down and read it, and you're going to get that deeper context. That's when you know a comic is really working.
When you revisited this, did you think at all about Per Berg's Yo-Yo?
I did think about Per Berg's Yo-Yo, and
Mm.
it is. I have it in my notes so that the next time I talk to Per, I'm to ask. Yes, Per. Question: is this what inspired you? Was it a Hellblazer? I never caught that before. I wish I would have caught it, but yeah, that is a great call. Moving forward from the page turn into this, we get these, and now we're total chaos. This is where the total bin and the beset influence is immediately coming in. And Ridgway executes at such a high level here. It's just chaos. And you get the
Mm.
impression of chaos. Why? Part of it is because up to this point, things have been structured and rigid. We're dealing with that 6-panel grid. So there's formatting. So the formatting and the layout of the page in and of itself has created a point where your visual acuity is now transferred into chaos, because you see this page and you're like, oh, it's chaos. It's totally different than everything I've seen. Had
Mm.
he used the same like inflow format where every panel kind of bleeds into it, it wouldn't have worked nearly as well. But by doing that structured page after the intro, he's established real world and then the chaos world. And so we've got
Yeah.
two things that are jiving, and you immediately know when you're floating in between from one to the other and back. And it really, really works.
Hang on, can
Again,
you go back a page?
absolutely,
Can,
from back to here.
no, the next one.
That one?
No, for two
This
forward.
that one?
No, you're going in the wrong direction.
Oh, okay. Not
That
this
one.
one.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
So if you look at these two pages, you're only focusing on one, and you only focus on the one character. Between the 2 pages, it looks like the dance of a madman. If you just focus on the face and then the second panel and then and it continues all the way across. It's like, an absolute madman in the moonlight, dancing to wolves or something.
Right. Well, I think that's the intent, right? It's to
Yeah.
show you. It's to show you the
Yeah,
chaos.
no, I'm just saying, yeah, exactly.
We've established the structure of the city, and while we've established the structure of the city, which is organized, it's organized civilization, right? Because the city is a grid work of roads and buildings, and we've established that Constantine walks within that. But we're also establishing that Constantine sees this chaos world, the world of demons and gods and angels that's fighting ever around it. And now we're floating into that world, and we're showing you what he sees on the other side of the ether that exists within. Where we see a physical wall, this is what he sees. And I think that's a great context to be playing with. But it's a really hard context to, like, how do you get that across? And Ridgway executes it so well. This deserves huge accolades. I don't think this book gets nearly the credit artistically for what it accomplishes in context of the story as it deserves. And I think that's a little bit of a shame. But I also want to talk about this because earlier, if we go back to these pages, you see it's a starkness. It's very, the colors stand out because the backgrounds are so plain, because we're in an urban landscape. And the urban landscapes are they're not sterile. There's like some pastel colors, but it's very rigid. It's you're on an isolated palette. There's not much flow. But then when we get outside, you get these gorgeous colors. This is a book that understands that nature delivers the full palette, whereas man can only deliver a limited amount. I really liked that you get the sense of richness and life when you're kind of get that sunset. You get the cliffs, you get and then the faces, and then as the fire goes up and you start drifting again, the panel structure is starting to drift away from a standard rigid panel structure, and we get that sense that, oh shit, now we know where we're headed. And where do we end up? We end up in total fucking chaos again. It's just great how they do this. It's
What
like
was the other What was the other book that we read that I know that those eyes they're not intended to be seen as being larger than life, but what was the book that we read that had that? Like just giant piercing.
That was Golden Age. That was just not Justice League. JSA, Justice Squad of America.
Yeah.
Golden Age.
Did you Manhunter. Did you have any kind of an issue with do you think that a protagonist in a comic should be easily discernible?
Okay, well let's talk about that a minute here, because again, I think this is from 1988. We're post Watchmen, and I hate to keep on mentioning that, but I can't, because there's always going to be somebody that mentions it. This is post Watchmen. We're in a world where people are playing with anti-heroes. And John Constantine is an anti-hero. He's not really a hero. He's as decent of a human being as he can possibly be, given the role that he plays in his daily life. And he deals with angels and demons. He talks with Lucifer. He's not the kind of guy that he's not locking up the shop at 5 o'clock and going home to the wife and kids and baking dinner. But at the same time, he doesn't wear a cape. So he's not a superhero. I don't think he's truly an anti-hero. I think he's more in that Punisher vein. Not to say that he's a vigilante, but I'm just saying he exists within his own realm of morality. And this book does a good job of kind of introducing you to that. Whether you read Swamp Thing or not, this is who he is. In Swamp Thing, he's a different character than here. Here he's in his daily life. He's not on a mission. But when he was dealing with Swamp Thing, it's like that was his mission. He was doing something for his own gain. And you see that a little bit here in the context of how he manipulates people and uses things to the best of his ability to reach the conclusion that he wants. Does that answer your question?
I mean, kinda. I think the one major issue I had with this book was character design.
In what way?
I mean, the most, and it's probably a minor quibble, and maybe the context you're describing explains it better than I think you are. But like, for example, um, the yellow hair, I don't like that. I don't know why. I think it works in comic books on women, but I just, for some reason, a guy with golden yellow hair just looks ridiculous to me.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because obviously Constantine was adapted into a film with Keanu Reeves. And one of the big complaints amongst comic fans at the time when the Constantine movie came out was he didn't have blonde hair. And when you have blonde hair, yellow is traditionally a color of pseudo purity or protection. That's why in Millennium, Frank Black or Lance Hedrickson's character, Frank Black, wants to live in a yellow house. There's safety in yellow, and that's part of what is going on with Constantine when you talk about color palette selection. If you give him black hair, if you give him brown hair, it's dark. That's not who Constantine is. Constantine is he's a contradiction, and so by giving him blonde hair, you make him that contradiction. Now, it's very important to also reference that, like, when you go to hell and you talk to the son of the morning star, when you talk to Lucifer in this universe, Lucifer has blonde hair because he's the most beautiful of all the angels. And he's in a sea of excrement. He's in a sea of demons. He's in a sea of creatures that
He's
will
in
make you go
Portland?
insane. Yeah, he's in Portland. You'll go insane if you see him, but at the same time, he's the most beautiful androgynistic looking alien angel you will ever see, and he has blonde hair. And I think there's a corollary there. Again, this is playing with a lot of concepts in the late 80s that were fresh then that are very not fresh now. And I think if you take our modern semblance look back at things, it with a little bit of jadedness, you could say like, "Oh, this is dumb." Well,
Hmm.
at the time, man, this is fresh. They're playing with cool shit. I mean, now
Yeah,
everybody.
clearly there's a couple instances where clearly Bowie was a massive inspiration.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I do want to talk about there are a few letdowns in this book. And whether it was due to production constraints or whether it was due to just deadline demands, uh, there are a couple pages like this one. The art is just an absolute miss. Like this book is fantastic for like 95%, and then we get pages like this. And I think every book arguably has these, but the ones in this book
He
tend to be
looks like
kind of neat.
he looks like King Hippo from Mike Tyson's Punch Out, but somehow with less fidelity.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And KSSS says Constantine was modeled after Sting. And I'm sorry I'm not pulling up any chats. I burned a bunch of time earlier
Oh,
talking a bunch of other stuff, but I got to get through the book and then we can catch up on chats. We're almost there. We're almost there. I promise. So yeah, I found this. I think this is a little weak. Not like so weak like you're closing the book and you're going, oh my gosh, like this just isn't good. But it's still a little weak. Okay, I have to talk about this. Henry Bemis says, "Hey, Aldous, how much do you think Constantine being from Liverpool informs his character?" JP, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I always like reading dialect, but I thought it was a little bit half-assed.
How
Like
so?
if you're gonna go Cockney, you need to go full on Cockney. You can't just drop phrases like in it, periodically. I either want you to be full Cockney or none at all.
So my only thing is I even posted about this because I've been on a Michael Caine kick. You see, God damn it, Bemis, you got me on a. Do I save this for later? Or do I deal with it now, JP? Your vote.
I don't deal with it now.
Okay. So I've been on a Michael Caine kick recently, and
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine, watching a bunch of Michael Caine movies from the 70s. One of the things, if you're going to do a character from Liverpool, and Michael Caine does this well in one film in particular, you need to have the Cockney slang going just a little bit, not much, but it needs to be there, and it's not there enough to echo JP. Also, I never get the strong impression of like a blue collar class guy. Like there's an arrogance there that I get the arrogance, but I think he needs to have a little bit more. If you're really going to go for that, I'm from Liverpool, he needs to have a little bit more Lennon and a lot less McCartney. That's just my opinion, though.
When he gets loud, he gets very loud indeed.
Yeah, and Cam says, how can you not be on a Sir Michael Caine kick? Oh my God, man. Wait until Wednesday. I've got 3 films that I just want
You've got to blow the bloody doors off.
You got to blow the bloody doors?
It's only 15.
It's just only 15. But yeah, moving on. Again, this is the following page, the one I mentioned. Again, this is like the weakest point of the book. It's also in the middle, so I can kind of understand it. But I want to also highlight this page, which is absolutely brilliant. Oh my God. I love that main panel. I love it. It from the colorist to the art. And earlier in the intro, when I talked about Ridgway's like pencils having like a scratch quality that's like, it's just subtle. It's so perfect. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is just, oh my God, it's magic. Absolutely fantastic art. I don't care about the 3 panels below it. Just that top overarching panel is absolutely gorgeous. The stairway, Constantine sitting down. You don't need dialogue on a page like that, man. That sums everything up. In fact, if anything, like, I would cut some of the narration out of this. Let that panel sing, because that panel is fucking great.
As in you would just move the bottom 3 panels to the next page and just let
almost
simmer?
like it almost. I would let that just sit, because Constantine needs to brood. That's the I think, if anything, the story is almost rushed at this point, and Constantine needs a chance to breathe and brood for his character. And just that page, just that top 2/3 of that page would be perfect right here. It gives you a chance to take a breath, and you're with John as he's sitting on that stairs taking a deep drag. And we've all been there. If you're a smoker, you've all been there, where you're sitting on the stairs and you need to take that deep, deep drag. Pull
And
that
also in that
smoke into your
panel,
lungs.
Like with him sitting with his back to the viewer, that color hair I'm fine with. It's just when it's like highlighter yellow in the very next panel that I don't like that.
Right.
That's not blonde. It looks like the real Slim Shady.
Right. And then you see, again, now we're back to more of the, again, and this is what I'm talking about, the rigid panel structure. Now, one of the things I want to talk about, we've got 2 things going on here. We've got the left-hand page has a light blue background. The right-hand page has a white background. The white background works. Why does the white background work? Because we have rigid panel lines. If you look over on what they're doing with the blue background on the left-hand side, we don't have rigid panel lines on panel 2 or panel 3. Panel 3 kind of is floating on top. It's really an inset panel that's at the same size. So what we're really doing is overlaying 5 panels over the top of panel 2. It's just, this is really unique shit for the era. And Ridgway needs to get some credit for it. He's doing something pretty cool, playing around with, not having a focal panel, but the focal panel is the same size as everything else in that standard 6-panel grid, because this is a transitionary moment, right? There is shit going on here in both the real world and the immaterial that Constantine can see, but we're floating. We're floating in between the two, and it exists both. There's a lot of crossover, but they're playing with that concept that they've established early on. This is brilliant work. That left-hand page is absolutely brilliant.
My only gripe there is that panel number 5 with him breaking the chicken's neck, that needs to be the end of a page. It's a scene transition, but I'd really, yeah.
No, I like that. And I don't think it just needs to be the end of the page. I think that's a page turn moment.
Yeah.
So I do agree. I do like that. That is a good call. That is a really good call. I like that. I think you could probably spread these 2 out, cut a couple of panels on the following page and extend this out. So that's your page turn, and then have the same impact. I like that. I like that a lot better. Good call, man. And then we go into this, which now we're delving into we're reaching the climax. We're getting the reveal of the demon that is present, and of course it's a fly. But what do? What are we doing? As soon as we enter the context of anything close to an entity that's not of our realm, the gutter lines are fractured. And now not only are they fractured, like they're really fractured. Like we are playing with total chaos. They're not just shifted like we were playing with earlier. Now they're irregular. And so the panels are haphazard in how they're placed. And the action is haphazard in how it's placed. But the dialogue remains construed, right? We've got a very nuanced, paced narration.
Man,
This
KSS is really just cooked. My comment about blonde hair really just fractured.
How can I
world.
live knowing that I can save orphans from a burning building, but because of my lovely blonde locks, JP is like, too bad your hair isn't dark. You're not a hero. You're no hero at all. I'm sorry to hear this has happened to you, KSS.
He's crashing out.
That is kind of a crash out. But yeah, so then we go from that, and then we get this. Oh no, actually that was earlier. Oh, I meant to talk. I'm sorry. I got my pages out of order. Oops.
Well, when the fly turned up, so this reference is not going to mean anything to you, but I'm still playing Silk Song, and the Hollow Knight world takes place like in the world of bugs, basically. So when I saw that creature, I was like, "Oh shit, a boss fight."
Oh yeah, that does look. It is an end boss. It's the end of the first issue, and he's got a priest in the background. This was interesting too, because you would assume up till now, like how Constantine has talked, that he is an ally of faith, that he's an ally of goodness. And what he ends up doing in this exchange, and he runs and he watches the priest be devoured. And his comment is, the priest held on to the crucifix like he thought it would save him. Like it's so dismissive. He is there, and there is power in the crucifix within Constantine, but it's the priest. Whether it's the priest's lack of faith, whether it's the power of the demon, it's never laid into it. There's power in goodness. There's power in God, and the cross is a representation of God within Constantine. But he's in that neither realm. Where like, yeah, he respects it, but it's not like. He was a fool to expect that he had any ability to. I liked that. I liked that there's a level at which like it won't protect you. Like no matter how much faith you have, evil can overcome it if you have fear in your heart. I liked that concept.
See, I was actually looking for an explanation for that because I just kind of chalked it up to, general cynicism toward religion.
Oh, there is cynicism. I think this is if anything, you could throw a dart and hit this is one of the problems with this book is if you are of the faith, you're going to read this book and go, well, there's no goodness here. He's shitting all over Christianity. But if you read all of the Swamp Thing issues, if you read post this issue in Sandman, where Constantine shows up, you understand that there is power in faith. And you understand that there is a good side and a dark side. And if you have enough faith in goodness and you're a good person, it does matter. But yes, standalone, one issue, definitely can see your point on that. For sure, because it does exist. And then we get the closeout. Again, we're chaos. We're absolute chaos. And we get that slow drift back into the real world, and then we get the to be continued into the next issue, and then we complete.
Which, weirdly enough, I was totally fine with.
No,
I actually appreciate it.
This is nice. It tells you a complete story of these 40 pages. While it ends on a cliffhanger, you are completely content with the story. You could pick this issue up and read it and be perfectly happy, and then next month you're going to grab another one. You're going to grab the follow-up, which is the conclusion of the story. I think this is an absolute banger. Highly recommend. But now let's catch up a little bit on the chats here. We've got Ronnie has blonde hair. There you go. Snugs is still stuck at Hollow Knight, and Ronnie is a dirty blonde. You know what I'm saying. KSSS brings up a really good point. Why can't we have art like this in 2025? I mean, other than the blonde hair. JP, what are your thoughts on that? Why can't we have art like this? Where is the John Ridgway? Ridgway, when he did this, he was a 20-year veteran of comic book art. He had, like I said, he had worked on Commando for a number of years. He'd come over to the States. He'd worked for both the big two. And then he got this book just based off his consistency. Why is it you think that we can't get this quality art? Why is most of the art in new books look not, if like we talked about throughout this?
Well, the 90s happened.
That is a valid point, but do you think it's exclusively the 90s? Because we're 20 years removed from the 90s at this point.
No, but I mean, I think people had just become so, I mean, and you see this in not just comics, but in art in general, that people have either, people have become afraid of the uncanny line and only dabble in either hyper realism or absurdism with no meaning. Just a like complete and total noise. So you end up with like a hodgepodge of mystery meat looking motherfuckers that have no actual, resemblance to life or the human condition, or hyper realist, which is at the end of the day, it's just both ends of it feel soulless,
right,
in my opinion.
No, I think you're hitting in the ballpark on that. Those are all fair. They're very fair points, and I tend to agree with most of them. JP doesn't think you're heroic either. Wow, you really pissed KSS off.
I know.
Awesome one sums up what I was trying to say in a much more succinct way. Faith in Christ, not a piece of wood. Yes, exactly. An icon. No matter how much that icon represents the suffering of Christ, will never balance out a flaw in the faith of Christ. That's kind of what I was trying to say. So thank you very much, awesome one, for summing it up. Luciferian, one might say, says Henry Bemis, because modern artists think CalArts is art. That's also a good point. Snugs is Commando right now.
See, I actually think we are in a post CalArts phase, and we are now in the Memphis art phase.
What do you mean by Memphis arts?
It's you know how
I am so disappointed you did not start off that by saying you put on your blue suede shoes and boarded the train.
No, Memphis art is that kind of corporate art where you'll see a drawing of like a woman that you can tell that she's black even though she's purple, and she's just made of these really rounded shapes. And now, like a lot of animated shows they've started aping that style. So, like Steven Universe looks very Memphis.
Okay, I can kind of understand what you're saying there. Henry Bemis says hand-drawn art simply looks different. Also, non-digital coloring, classic 4-color, is what gave the comics their classic look. Absolutely no disagreement. When I stepped away from floppies for about 5 to 7 years and was just picking up trades, the thing that I noticed was the coloring immediately. The coloring was totally different, and it was off-putting to the point that when I got back to start buying floppies again, like I was very selective in what I was buying because I wanted a certain look, and the look that I wanted was gone. It was really, really hard to find. And that's where I give full credit to like Brubaker and Phillips. Brubaker, I would not have found Brubaker and Phillips if their palette was not of that kind of older style inherently in Criminal. That was not Criminal, a Pulp, I think, was one of the first ones I found of theirs. That was like, oh my God, like these guys are kind of using that old style. But yeah, it was good stuff. Awesome one says, though artists had to deal with the Renaissance when they got garbage Dadaism and others pushed the envelope. Yeah, no, there's always going to be people pushing, and there's always going to be people heralding that old style. Zaid Comics is one of them. With his The Man with No Strings. Go check that out at zaidcomics.com, who was a guest of ours not too long ago. So greetings to Phil. Good to see you, man. But Phil is here. He's not blonde. JP says, there goes my hero. Jesus, man. KSSS. That really affected you, man. If you
what's really messed up is that if I didn't currently have gray hair, I'm also blonde.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I don't have any hair. I shaved my head. But in any case, I think that's going to do us for the gutter. I will be dropping the link in the chat if you'd like to join us in the back room. Don't know how late we're going to go, but you're always welcome. All of you are welcome if you're watching the show to join us and talk to us about the episode, about anything you've read lately. We're always interested in what you have to say. Look how all this praises Phil Diaz, brother. Yeah, I love Phil. Phil's a good man. I have broken bread with Phil. But with that being said, JP, last words.
Well, you know, when we started the gutter this evening, the Tigers were in extra innings, and they're still in extra innings, bottom of the 13th.
Yes, we don't talk about that until the game's over.
Okay. Well, have a good weekend, everybody.
Yeah, you as well, man. Thank you all for joining us. Show up for the show. If you are a Michael Caine fan, show up on Wednesday for the show, and we'll be talking about some excellent Michael Caine films that I'm sure JP will not watch, and I will just have to inform him about. But other than that, look forward to, well, not a whole lot. Hope you have a great week, and we'll see you later. Take it easy.
This is blood for blood and by the gallons. This is the old days, man, the bad days, the all or nothing days. They're back. There's no choices left.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.